Welcome to Shootin the Bull, the official podcast of the championship darts circuit. A casual conversation about the sport of darts, talking about topics of the day from a North American perspective, featuring a cast of characters and contributors from the CDC roster and the world of darts. Now here's your host, Anthony Eugenio.
Welcome in, everybody. My name is Anthony Eugenio, your host of Shootin the Bull, the official podcast of the CDC. We are excited to kick off season 2 of Shootin the Bull. Thank you for joining us live here on YouTube. You can also find us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find us at Champ Dart. So please subscribe to those social media pages. As I said, we're here on YouTube, so please subscribe to the page and like tonight's episode and get it shared out onto your favorite dart group platforms out there on social media. You can also get info on us at www.champdarts.com. That's our website with all the information that is the CDC. Don't forget tonight, you can become part of the show. If you've got questions or comments about the show, put them in the chat and we may feature that later in the episode. Okay. We will also have this up as a audio podcast in the coming days. So if you would find us on your favorite podcast platforms like Apple and Spotify and give us a nice 5-star review if you don't mind. So without further ado, let's jump into tonight's show. And I want to welcome in my contributors for this episode, 2 great analysts for the CDC. They make this stuff go round and round. So let me bring in Mr. Mark Taggart and Mr. Gordon Dixon. I love it so much. Welcome in, boys. How's things? Welcome. It's been a while since I've chatted with you both, and personal. And we've got holidays and the new year and everything. So hope you're both well. How are the families, Gordon?
Yeah, doing well. 5-year-old. We're trying to figure out time right now. You tell him it'll be 5 minutes, and he's like, I don't know what that means. So we're trying to work through that. And yeah, little girl doing well, and we've got some organized basketball, which not a game that I'm very familiar with.
Mr. Mark, how's things?
I can totally relate and concur with a lot of what Gordon's going through. Very well. Good to see you, Anthony. Gordon, good to see you as well. Always a pleasure to get on here and shoot the bull. Family's good, Anthony. Thanks for asking. Hectic and
Excellent.
Chaotic and lots of fun, but you know how all that goes. Wouldn't
I
have it
do,
any
I
other
do.
way.
2 of my own, absolutely not. We've got a lot of dads here, and Gordon's new launch page, he's on Only Dads. If you haven't seen his hat, so if you want to follow Gordon Dixon, check out Only Dads. So let's start with sort of the big news. All right, the January opens up, London, Alexandra Palace, PDC. Paddy Power World Darts Championship. Everyone's seen, a lot of nuts and bolts on the results, but let's talk effect. Let's talk, we now live in a Lidler wonderland. Newly turned 18-year-old is the champion of the world, and of course, I'm going to be a dog with the bone. I'm not going to let it go about the whole legacy thing. He beats MVG in the finals. That overall scheme of Taylor at 16, Barney at 5, MVG still sitting there on his 3, and hot on his tails here is Lidler. So, Gordon, give us a little feel on what the air tastes like here now in a Lidler championship universe.
Well, yeah, I mean, the kid just wire to wire. I mean, there were so many upsets in the World Championship. It made it for a very interesting watch overall, but it ended up very chalky at the end because the betting favorite kind of ran through there. Or maybe Humphreys had it for a little bit, but no, it's an interesting place to be just because I thought that this World Championship would be like the first test of after the good run last year. He was on free money the entire year after that, and to see him come in and do what he did is I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. And I think he got a little taste of what's to come with the first couple outings after that.
Which is what we saw. Well, you know what? Let me take that back. My foot in my mouth. He won didn't he win Bahrain last year? Yeah, he won Bahrain.
Sure,
all right, so I take that off the table. Yeah, no, he didn't struggle last year. Yeah, it seems surreal that he was going to go in there and win this title. You know, I thought he might have got picked off a little earlier. I did think it was going to be tough if he made a final to lose 2 finals in a row. But yeah, it's being the big dog. Now everybody, I mean, not that Lidler wasn't on the radar, but he's now officially the champ. So just like any other sport, everybody's going to bring their best game against the champ. Isn't that right, Mr. Mark?
They have to. They've got no choice. The kid hits the treble 20 like it's magnetized. It's that simple. He's throwing the most ton plus averages by a mile, and it's something ridiculous. To get to the 100-ton pluses, that makes sense. He's got there quicker than anyone has done that, and it's just not a surprise. When he is clicking and he gets comfortable, he's relentless. And to Gordon's point, you know, he had one real test in my mind, which was Brad Joyce, and he passed that test and never looked back. He made the semi look very comfortable, and then the final he made him look ridiculously comfortable against a player like Michael. Michael dug in, but he weathered the storm, and the rest is history. And he lets his darts do the talking, and people will have to bring their A game to circle right back. Otherwise, you know, he'll be cashing lots more checks this year.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought if MVG could get himself to the final, that he was going to will himself over the line, and you know, he had his moments. It's not as if he played bad, but Lidler just was up to the task, and puts his first one up there. Did we just lose Gordon? I think we just lost Gordon. So, oh no, there's Gordon. So. So let's Gordon, your take on sort of on a legacy idea. You know, we started last year on Shootin the Bull talking about, you know, where MVG stands in sort of the all-time, you know, rankings about, you know, on titles, and what does that mean? It's going to be a different world compared to what, you know, Taylor was able to accomplish, and of course there's discussion about the depth of field that Phil Taylor had to go through. That doesn't diminish things, but still, you know, so what's the new barometer? And you know, that Lidler was going to start winning them, and we've got one here. So, you know, where do you put an MVG? Not overall, but sort of like, what kind of work does he have to do in the next coming years?
Well, yeah, I think this next year's a big one. Him coming off of a loss in the final, and like you said, he's been sitting at 3 for a while now. We've had the rise of Humphreys. It seems like all of the talk before each of the tournaments is about the Lukes, which doesn't make anyone happy. I have to agree that when Michael made the final, you kind of thought like, okay, he got there. That was the biggest thing. He's going to turn the kid over now. And it never looked likely.
I almost felt like sheer will that just by force of Michael van Gerwen, he was going to get himself across that line.
Well, and you always expect him to just find that next level. Whenever it's needed, you expect him to kick it in. And when he doesn't, it's less and less surprising anymore. And I think that's probably the scariest part for Michael, is he doesn't seem to have the ability to turn that gear when he needs it. Where in the past he certainly has.
Mark, any MVG thoughts from you?
The fear factor's gone. It's plain and simple. He's in a different world now, I think he was very happy, quite honestly, that he got to the final, working the way he did go through some of those rounds methodically, and he got there. And he played well in patches, but when he goes missing, he loses sets real quick, and his top level, to Gordon's point, it's not there as often as it used to be. And there's players now. Forget the looks. Go down the roster. There's people in certain formats and in certain tournaments will turn him over, and that they'll find him out if he has an off patch, even for 5, 6, 7 minutes. And he's finding that. But, as far as things are off the hockey, he's got a great family. He's got brilliant life. He's the most, accomplished Dutch dart player by far. Well, not by far, but certainly is the amount that he's won in the PDC, just tournaments wise. There's no one near that. And, I think he doesn't want to be a passenger, to your point, Anthony. He definitely would love to win a whole lot more. But, the field now is just, it's so stacked that in any given day, it's hard to, if you're not turning up 95 averages, consistently, you're going to have a tough day at the office.
And we bring in Peter Cetera. I was going to wait till we got to the Masters. Yeah, I knew Pete was in there. Well, we're going to take a turn. My setup anyway, we talk about things being jam-packed. Recently, Barry Hearn did an interview and he talked about God doing the PDC a disservice by only supplying 365 days. And he's got a point. They come out of the World Championship. 2 World Series events already, Bahrain and Holland. And we open up this weekend, and our buddy, Mr. Peter Cetera, joining us here is on site for this. I wanted to now talk about the rebranded, refurbished, renewed is the proper word. The Winmore World Masters happening this weekend in Milton Keynes. A sort of marriage of modern PDC stars with a classic format going all the way back to 1974, if I'm not mistaken. A format beloved by dart fans, set play, but sort of quick rat-a-tat-tat set play, best of 3 each set. They're in similar fashion to the legacy of that World Masters. There was a preliminary day that featured some tour card holders, but a lot of representatives from the different levels of PDC play, plus worldwide representatives. We had CDC representatives there, and then a staggered event that led into today's opening of round 1, a best of 5 sets in a quick fashion. So let's first say hello to Pete. Welcome in, Pete, from jolly old England. Give us your take being there for the Masters, and then we'll get the expertise of the boys on their take on this event.
Hello, it's good to be here.
Cheers.
Salud. Cheerio, and all that good stuff. So you're talking about the format. The format, there's one word for it, and it's brutal. Going through those qualifiers, best of 3, is just absolutely a gauntlet. It's a fun format if you're a fan of anything can happen, right? So it's a fun format, but it also is absolutely brutal as a player. I love set play. It's no secret that I love set play. I talk about that every chance I get. But the difference between set play at the Worlds and set play here is night and day, right? You drop 4 straight legs at the World, you're down a set and a leg. You drop 4 straight legs here, you're out of the event. And you've really just got to be sharp. There's no slow starting at all. You can't.
Mr. Taggart.
So I love it. Maybe I'm a sadist. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I loved the prelims. I loved how they got matched up. Today was just it was great. And the fact that if you don't hold your throw in an opening of a set, you're already backs against the wall. And one of my favorite phrases is it's squeaky bum time straight off the bat. One double in, suddenly you're already back against the wall. It's great. But to Pete's point, it is, I don't know, it's not a easy ride at all for the players. So the person that's going to win this week is going to have to be on the game. They're going to have to take chances. And one of the things I saw today that seems obvious, but I think even more so here, it favors the heavy scorers because they carve out that chance first in the leg, and those that can get down to that, even with 100 and below first, the person that sort of can carve out those opportunities should have some success, but still got to take it out.
Adam Savata would beg to differ. Outscored his opponent down the board. Guy was playing Karl Sedlacek, I believe. Missed one dart at a double. Sedlacek takes out 119. Goodbye. See ya. So I get what you're saying. I'm not trying to be. What was that?
He had his one dart and a souvenir T-shirt, and that's it on the flight home.
Exactly. I came to Milton Keynes, and all I got was this lousy T-shirt. Exactly. But I'm being flippant. Obviously, Mark, I think the point is valid. I just, I witnessed yesterday scoring not coming through, even with, some very few missed doubles.
I'll take the second part every day of the week. I'll take the scoring and have the first chance versus living my life on the 119 to get through. But I hear your point, Peter.
So we turn to the one person on this show that's actually played in the Winmore World Masters, Mr. Dixon, if I'm not mistaken. And as a sort of sub note, if I remember correctly, it was also the event you had to play official. Am I thinking of the right event?
Yeah. So I won and lost the same match, all in the span of 20 minutes. No, this format is absolutely brutal. I don't feel bad for any of them, as I played on the Diddle Tour for long enough in America where it was 2 out of 3 once. So it was kind of hit the ground running and take it out or go home. Or wait around the 4 hours to whatever the next event was that you played 2 out of 3 in. So they get a couple of sets. So I don't feel bad for them at all. But no, to the point of just the rebranding of this, I think it's wonderful. I think set play does allow for some of the better players to kind of get into it a little bit more. Point taken on the 4 and you're out in the preliminary rounds, but you do have a little bit more of a chance to settle in. So that's something that they're always going to relish. And as far as a viewer is concerned, that 2 out of 3, it's 1-1. You're at a deciding leg straight away. Yep. It's not leg 5, it's leg 3. And that makes for a lot more exciting moments quicker in each of the matches, which is super fun.
Yeah, and I'm really glad they left it at a small, quick format for round 1. We know they'll get. I haven't looked it up as to where they're going to go, but by finals day they'll have a lot more meaty sets in there. But I think this first round needed that perilous, quick best of 5 setup to really get the flavor for it, and today did not disappoint.
No, completely agree. And it was so much fun. I mean, just to point out a couple of the specific players, like we're talking about 2025, Stephen Bunting. I am so excited about what might happen for him the rest of this year. The way he's come out. And you still got kind of the perennial favorites winning through, but then you get some further upsets. So this tournament's going to have it all.
Willie O'Connor showcased exactly what you're saying. Gordon, he got steamrolled in the first set by Cross, found a little purple patch, and before you know it, he had match darts, and Cross was looking, saying, "What happened? I'm done." So, and Bunting could have faced that same peril against Borland. He had a great comeback to win that match. So it's fantastic. As a spectacle, as entertainment, trying to find formats that keep the crowd fresh and entertained. I think the PDC is always trying to push the edge, and like you said, they're renewing something that's what's old is new again, but it has the razzmatazz and the skill set of players that aren't throwing 80 averages like back in the day. I'll harp on, but they're throwing 3-digit averages and 15 darts. And
so, Pete, where do you?
One thing one of you mentioned butt clenching. There's no bigger butt clench than Stephen Bunting had on that stage. The last two sets. I mean, he goes down 2 sets, then comes back fine. Kind of takes that throwaway set 2-0. But the last 2 sets are 2-1, 2-1. I mean, talk about pressure. I echo what you say, Gordon. I'm really happy to see Stephen throwing the way he is. I think he's going to be brilliant this year to watch. I'm excited to see where that goes. But you're talking about the format, best of three in the prelims. That's the one thing that I would kind of like to see tweaked is you've got to set. And you've got to do best of three because it's a round robin, right? And it just so happened that we had groups of 3. And ironically, there were 2 groups where it was a win and you're in type thing, which nobody really wants to see. But, if you add another player to that group or another 2 players to that group, all of a sudden it's not 3 matches, it's 5 matches or 9. And so just in the efforts of time, you've got to make sure that the early rounds are somewhat short. And I got to say, absolute props to the PDC staff for turning that hall into what you saw on TV today, because yesterday morning it was not what you saw on TV today.
They played in this. I didn't know that. Good tidbit. Right in that same hall.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, and Jeff Good, if
Take
you're watching,
note, CDC staff.
They were breaking down while the top 16 matches were going. Actually started when the top 32 matches were going on. Now they were quieter than we are sometimes, so God bless them for that. But yeah, it was something. It was something to see. It was a nice little dance.
So tomorrow is the second half of round 1. We see Wade, Clayton, Aspinall, Doby, Lidler, Van Gerwen, Anderson among the big names. So let's go back to Pete and then recircle back through the boys. So give us what you see going on for the weekend, either highlights in some of those names and based on what you saw today, who may take the newly revamped Winmore World Masters.
So here's what I will say. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but I don't think this format is set up for Lidler. I think that he has sometimes slow starts. He has these times where he'll just go away for a leg or 2. And I'm not denying the man's talent. I'm obviously world champion, fantastic player, but I think this format might prove a challenge for him.
He is a man, isn't he? Yes, he is now a man. Thank you, Peter.
Yes, he most definitely hit that 18th birthday. Had a pint. Had his first pint. Right, never had a pint before, allegedly. Beaton's got through. It's interesting because if Matt Campbell would have won his match against Lebanauskas, he would have played Beaton's for the spot. And Beaton's played really well against Lebanauskas in that final, the last 16 round to get to the event. But he was beatable. So who knows? There but for the grace of God, who knows? I also will say this. I listened to your back and forth about MVG. Wholeheartedly agree that, he also could have problems. The MVG of 8 years ago blows through this because he turned it on and off at will, right? This MVG, I'm not saying he's going to have a problem with Bradley Brooks, but you get deeper into this event, I think it doesn't set up well for the way he's been playing recently. Nothing against Michael. I just don't think it sets up perfectly for him.
Gordon, what's on tap for the weekend?
That was one of the things that I was going to talk about with Lidler, the slow starts. So this may be a problem for him as far as the format is concerned. De Decker is a big one that I want to see how he bounces back. Couple hits to the chin, not probably the world championship he wanted, non-selection, which we'll talk about that a little bit later too in the Premier League. And then the other one that I was just happy to see was Cameron Menzies, because I don't know how many people kind of lived through what he kind of went through in the World Championships, and it was probably maybe lost a little bit more on Americans, because we saw Leonard Gates going through in that match, which is what we were mostly all rooting for, I think. But to see him to come back and play well, make it into the knockout bracket, and I'm excited to see if he can do it on the big stage when his number's called.
Mark, how do you see the weekend playing out at the Winmore World Masters?
Oh, there's question marks all over this. What Peter Wright turns up could kill the bunting party real quick. What Gary Anderson turns up could go and win the whole thing because of these short sprints. Doesn't have to have these long matches. Stamina doesn't necessarily have to play a part till the really late rounds when it gets sort of best of 9 and best of 11 sets. These short sprints, winning sets, getting them under his belt, he could do damage. I love the potential of some of the qualifiers, getting through and causing upsets along the way. There's a lot. Chris Dobie, Ryan Soler right off the bat. That's a toss of a coin. And then, the other people like the Michaels and the Luke Lidlers, we could all be watching, them make light work of the parts of their bracket and then face each other late in, or quite the opposite. Who knows?
All right, boys. Is that everything on the Masters? Do we want to be pressed for a winner, or are we good on that analysis? Anybody want to forward who's going to be lifting the trophy on Sunday, or the Magic 8 Ball says too murky to tell?
Hard.
Well, this format. Yeah, this format is
nobody's putting any shekels on it, and fair enough. And I will spin it this way. That is why you, as a fan out there, if you're watching tonight or listening over the next couple of days, tune into this event. Look it up. www.pdc.tv. You'll be able to sign up and watch this event. Fireworks all weekend, and don't miss it. So we're going to take a little turn here in the show. We're going to step away, and we want to present this great video of an idea that we want to launch here in 2025 for the World Championship. We had a group in Indianapolis get together to have an awesome watch party to watch the World Championships, and we want to spread that excitement. So watch this piece, and then we'll get some info out of you guys.
Welcome to the darts. Your first impressions.
Fantastic. Very fast paced. Very fast paced. It's super fun.
Hey, what do you think of this darts thing?
I love darts. I didn't know it was such a extravaganza that it is.
Patty power!
I'm telling you, once you see it once, you are in it. The walk-on songs, and everybody's in cosplay. It's a huge party.
Fantastic. We love the darts indeed. So if you have in your city, a venue that you think would be a great host on this post, give us a comment in there and tag the venue. And you can also email us at info@champdarts.com with your suggestions. And we're going to start tracking those things down in 2025 and set up these great watch parties. So next part of the show, I had the pleasure yesterday of sitting down with the 3-time world champion John Part for a great little conversation. We're going to play some snippets, get the boys' reaction to it. So first up, just piggybacking off of what we talked about, we asked John about Luke Lidler and where he is after becoming world champion.
Everyone thinks, well, it just gets easier, but it doesn't. You get the people playing you harder. There's absolutely no fear of losing to Luke Lidler now. He's the world champ. And when I say fear, I mean in the terms of, well, it's a kid or whatever you want to say. There's some sort of shame attached to it, stigma, whatever. All that's gone. He's just an absolute dart a god now of sorts.
Yeah.
And
he's the champ.
And yeah, I mean, it's like, well, you're unlucky if you have to play him now is the general consensus, right? So but it's going to bring a lot of really tougher efforts against them. We saw it with Gerwin Price in Bahrain, and coming up with a 115 average against him. And that's the sort of thing. Well, maybe that's what it takes to beat him, but he's going to see a lot more of it.
And full disclosure, yes, the Jets shirt is up for grabs if anybody wants to take a snipe at the Jets shirt. But
I'm a Bears fan. I got nothing to say.
any response?
As a Browns fan, that was a brave maneuver.
John reiterated there a little bit some things you guys touched on about, Lidler, really having a presence now. Obviously, you just set up that he may have some tripwires here in this format for this weekend, but overall, he's the guy. So any reaction to that, Mark?
Yeah, 115 average to beat him from Price. That's pretty astronomical, obviously, but if you're not throwing at least 100, you're going to have a tough ask against Luke Lidler. But in this short format, to the point that both Gordon and Pete made, people will have opportunities. They just have to take them, quite simple. But over long formats, when he gets going, he's the man to beat. And we talked about the fear factor sort of diminishing from MVG. The fear factor is there for Luke Lidler. There's no doubt about it. People might try to play it off and, we'll just go up and I'll play the board. You know what you're getting against this young man. Young man, is that counterintuitive?
He's a man. He's a man now.
You're going to get more often than not, consistency-wise. So John's absolutely spot on.
All right, we'll play the next clip, and then I'll go to another one of the boys, and then you can all chime in as a whole when we're done. So the second piece from John was his advice as a broadcaster on what new viewers to the game should look out for.
So, and this is your best talent you've ever seen, and if you're new to the game and you're up there and you see this and you're like, well, why aren't they just hitting that? Because you may have been on a board and hit a double once and you thought, well, that was pretty easy, but you weren't under any pressure and you weren't in the middle of a leg of darts, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All about the pressure.
Yeah, and there weren't a whole bunch of eyes boring holes in the back of your head, So, but it's I think that, okay, let's start with the basic. If you're going to come in and start watching darts, learn the rules. Get a grip on the math as best you can. Listen and don't be afraid to get help from the referee, as he's calling them, the scoreboard that you see on the screen, and certainly listen to the commentators, although we make mistakes too. And to be fair, sometimes even our graphics are wrong, so that makes us make mistakes. So, just spreading it out a bit there, but it's not always us. Come on. Nobody can be wrong that much.
But yeah, there's your tips from Part on watching darts. Peter, your take on, as you're leading the way here on trying to, get new viewers, what's John's couple of tidbits there on what to look for as a new viewer?
Yeah, I mean, master the math is a lot easier said than done, especially
from one of the best counters ever, right? Yeah.
Right, exactly. I mean, I'm still struggling not to set up 169. So, even somebody who's been here 25 years can have some issues. But certainly it's that coming out and being a fan is about just getting into the moment, right? This is the greatest sport on earth. There's something for everybody. The atmosphere itself. I don't care how much you know about the guys on stage. You can easily get into it. Play along with the crowd and pick it up as you go. I mean, it's not curling. It's not, God forbid anybody's into, it's not cricket. there's not any of these weird kind of. It's not baseball, for the love of God. He's saying this is a baseball fan.
Pete just alienated 2/3 of the planet.
You're going to throw bombs, you may as well throw bombs. My point is, it's easy to become a fan of the sport. Give it a shot. It's what's not to love when you're there. Go have a good time and figure out what's going on later.
Good advice. So now let's go back to John for a second to get his story on how the nickname Darth Maple came about.
The actual reason why the Darth Maple, well, I did have, when I won in '94, a black maple leaf on my shirt, because I always thought the white and red combination, I want a black and red combination. I said, we'll go with the black maple leaf. I don't want to be Mr. Polite Canadian who goes over and thank you for beating me, and it was really nice to be here. Can I get you something? No, I wanted to take.
I thought Gordon would like that one, and I'm going to hold Gordon for that third piece.
I really like that there was that there's a direct correlation between the color scheme that he chose. As a non-fan of America's hat for pretty much my entire darting career, I don't know that I've ever thrown a straight dart in that country. That was for him to utilize that as kind of he's pushing himself on by just the color scheme of the maple leaf is absolutely awesome. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from a very cerebral player that John is.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I've heard advice that says look good, feel good, play good, right?
Yep. I used to dress up for tests. I didn't have any idea what I was going to answer on, just to try to give myself a little fake confidence. That's I've always taken that to heart. So to hear it from John is awesome. And I think that grit could actually be used by quite a few other people as kind of a way to give themselves a little extra.
Gordon Dixon's views on our neighbors to the north are not reflective of the company's policies at large.
Everything's on the table.
I love playing with it. I have so much respect for how well North America overall is doing in the world of darts. It's fun to play with a rivalry that really, I mean, we both benefit from.
Mark,
Amen.
Any other
Amen.
thoughts on those clips? Yeah, either new viewers, John himself. Any comments about him being who he is and his impact here? And
it's great to hear that he was thinking of it from day one. That he was walking in. First impressions count a lot, and he wanted people to recognize him and know that he was coming, and not there to sort of make up the number. So him actually saying that, it's not a surprise. I loved Gordon's use of the word cerebral. Very nice there, Gordon, shoehorning that in. But absolutely not something that we would not see from Professor Part, but nice to hear it from the horse's lips. Great interview.
Peter, anything else? John Part as a whole, or any of those little snippets that you didn't get to comment on?
No, I mean, John Part is a force of nature sometimes. Cerebral is a good word for him. I've had many in-depth conversations, many of which I did not come out on top of. It's a great interview. I'm actually looking forward. I have not yet seen the whole thing, so I'm really looking forward to seeing the balance of it.
Agreed.
Gordon, anything else before we close? More of even just, in the interview, I talked with John about sort of his legacy, what he's done for darts here on and off the hockey.
Yeah, no, I echo what Pete said. I'm interested to hear. Is there any more on him with the Lidler piece?
Yeah, there's.
Because I was interested to see if he talked about anything like some of the early rounds with Lidler, like when he played Aspinall, like he said, like all of those like excuses, like he's a kid or that, like some of those felt kind of gimmicky in the World Championship. Like everybody's laughing, trying not to take it too serious. You're playing a kid or whatever, and that's not at all the vibe that he gave off. So I I can't wait to see the entire interview because I'd like to see if there was anything else from John on that element of Lidler.
We sat down and talked for nearly 45 minutes, if memory serves, and we went more in depth in those topics and a few others. So if you are excited about seeing the John Part interview, it will be up at the conclusion of this episode on our YouTube page. So tonight you can go to YouTube and find my chat with the 3-time world champion Darth Maple, Professor Part, John Part. So with that down, we want to remind everybody to be active there in the chat. If you've got any feedback or anything, we'll stop in a bit and get that from you guys. Now we want to take a turn. We're going to promote the U.S. Masters. Okay, yeah, let's run that video, and then we'll chat some U.S. Masters and go into our next segment.
That's what I like to see. That's real darts. Pure dart! The greatest darting force on the planet right now. How about that? Oh, magnificent! Sensational darts!
The U.S. Darts Masters returns to Madison Square Garden June 27th and 28th. Tickets are selling fast, so you can go to pdc.tv/tickets to pick up your pair. Don't miss it. Anything that needs to be said about the Masters from you boys? The U.S. Masters at the Garden?
How great would it be to see an American-based commentator for that event? Huh?
I absolutely concur. My calendar's clear, Mr. Gordon. So.
No, I'm disappointed in myself that I haven't been there.
Mark's like, how about an American commentator with a slight Irish accent, with a fake Irish accent, right? Hasn't that? Let's jump into that for a second, folks. Mark will attest. On behalf of my client, that man does have an actual Irish accent. He sat down with me for the first time in the CDC in Chicago a couple of years back, and we got messages saying, "Why is this guy putting on a fake accent?" No, trust me, it is genuine, Mr. Taggart. Is it not?
I couldn't make this up if I tried. Put it that way.
Now that's the right answer.
And I owe Mark an apology because I actually had first caught wind of this this past weekend at an event that I was doing, and I had somebody kind of asking me about all the events that I do and who I work with, and it actually came up. They're like, "Hey, does that one guy really have an accent?" And I thought they were messing with me, and then I finally figured out who they were talking about. I was like, yeah, absolutely he does. He doesn't just turn that on with the microphones light up.
Gordon would also like to let you know that his Buckeye accent is real as well.
Also genuine.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I'll throw in one thing that doesn't have anything to do with accents. I just signed a contract today for the New Yorker hotel, so we'll have a block for fans. We'll get the word out on that starting this week. So if you haven't booked the hotel yet, look for that. It's a pretty good deal right across the street. So we always try to set that up for people.
We'll marry that with continuing CDC social media posts, and we'll keep everybody updated on the event itself, tickets, and hotel accommodations. You do not want to miss the 2025 PDC U.S. Darts Masters and North American Championship. So with that,
can we all hang on? Hold on.
Yes.
Can we all agree on one thing in that promo, though? Let's just all agree on one thing. The term fancy dress works here. For a North American audience, if it's not a dart crowd, I'm not sure fancy dress is the way to go. I'm just throwing that out there.
So he says that we're all right. So what's our alternative? Kooky dress, wacky wear,
costumes, because that's what they are in the U.S.
Yep.
Sure, why not?
Cosplay.
Cosplay's
Somebody
a good one.
riding a freaking unicorn is not fancy dress. Fancy dress is monocle, top hat, and, you know, three-piece
Well,
suit.
all
That's
right, let's
fancy
not get
dress.
into the monocles, Cetera. We know who's going to wear the monocle in your family, but we'll put that aside. All right, so we'll continue as a dart community to more fine tune the idea of come in a fun, festive outfit that you can just have a blast in, right? That's the idea. Just let it go. Leave all your inhibitions at the door. Show up as a banana, a few pints, and everybody's having a good time. So says one, so says we all. Boom. All right.
If I ever leave the promotion of this sport, the last thing you're going to see me in is a banana suit at a PDC event. That's how
I think
I
we
ride
should all
off into
hold
the
that.
sunset.
His last day in office, Peter Cetera wears a banana outfit. All right. Check. Again, put it in the books. If I'm not mistaken, we're gonna have to say goodbye to Mr. Cetera just for a segment. No, we don't. Oh, okay. No, I'm getting from the powers that be that Pete can stick around for our little. We're going to take a spin and check out darts around the world and have some hit and run topics with a timer attached to them. So here we go. Our darts around the world segment. We're off and running. Jim Long picks up the newest member of the PDC Tour Card family. Canada's Jim Long gets his 2025 tour card. Reactions, boys. Cetera?
Hey, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Going to be great to see him out there. The only people who don't benefit from this is Modus, because he leaves a gaping hole in that, and the seniors.
A tidbit there. Jim wins his card on the fourth day of trying. He goes into the final knowing he has the card, but yet wins outright. So, Gordon, your reaction to Jim Long on tour?
Yeah, no, excited. I think he has the means to utilize it, which is a big piece of the puzzle when you're talking about tour cards. So excited to see him in event over event. I know he was in when he was playing in that final, so awesome to see him prevail, even though he had that in the back of his head.
So Mark, Jim Long he's now our fourth North American card holder. He's going to join Matt Campbell and comprise Team Canada. Jim now sets off with a 2-year card. Your impressions?
Love it. Love Jim to pieces. He's worked hard. He's been a stalwart on the CDC tour for many years. Had lots of success. And to Pete's point, he's gone across the pond and done damage in Modus, and now he really gets a good shot at the PDC. And I think if he can get over there, stay in the UK for prolonged periods of time, I think he's going to cause problems for people this year.
We saw him play well at the seniors, make finals on the CDC circuit. As you said, make winning weeks at Modus. So Jim was about as poised as anybody to win his card, and he does it. So now we move down. David Cameron returns to Lakeside. David Cameron got the best of Jeff Springer 6-3 at the recent Las Vegas Open, where they held a WDF Gold level men's singles. So we'll see Cameron back at the Lakeside to make, I believe, his 8th appearance. I think he made 7 straight appearances from 2014 to 2020. So Excalibur is heading back to the Lakeside. Mark Taggart.
I had 9 in my notes, but I'll go with you.
You had 9, and all due respect, those were quick. That was a quick Wikipedia search before air, so 9 sounds fine to me.
What's one Lakeside between it? None of us
Absolutely.
have ever made it. I love it. He played really well in that final against Jeff Springer, who put up a really good showing. Clinical 94 to polish it off in the end, and he's a man for the big occasion. He plays really well over in the UK, and whoever gets him in the first round of Lakeside's going to have a tough task on their hands. So more power to Dave.
Peter?
Hey, he's getting more and more stage experience. I wouldn't want to face him. It's going to be great to see him on that stage. There's no wasp there, as far as I know.
Who buys the
Because of that.
kebabs?
Yeah, I'm not going to be around. He's not going to be able to eat my kebab. So, things are good are looking up for Dave Cameron. Everything's coming up Cameron in this one.
Mr. Dixon.
Yeah, excited to see it. Not surprising to see Jeff Springer. I just want to mention him in there as well. Going through the qualifier to make it last year. I'm sure he was licking his chops at that opportunity. But yeah, Dave has put up numbers on every stage that he's been afforded the ability to play on, and I really like him in that setting with the averages that he throws.
So now we move on to Modus. We just saw this past week Adam Savada make the final of the week. Jake Womack competed. I saw Gary Mawson's going to be heading over there. We've had at somewhere in the neighborhood of probably about a dozen players. Long, Lauby, Spellman, McMillan, Bunce, Gates, among others. Talk about what that Modus exposure has done for the North Americans, and quite honestly, what some of the North Americans have done for Modus. We've invigorated some lifeblood there, Mark.
Yeah, I just love that they've opened the aperture more and more. And when the players get those opportunities, they do not disappoint. Adam and Jacob this week have been a testament to that. They both committed themselves so well. And, I think that the cat's out of the bag now in any tour that the North Americans go over and compete in, that there's no gimmies anymore, that they're over there to compete. And as Darth Maple said, it's not thanks for letting me take part. It's we're coming over and we want to try and win this thing and bring the pounds back to either Canada or the States.
Gordon?
Yeah, I want to talk about it from a darts fan perspective. And this is anecdotal and kind of a microcosm around me, but the number of people like walking into my local singles league that are talking about what Americans are playing in the Modus series that week and who they played, and kind of given a more rounded view of all the dart players that can throw those averages, I think has expanded the number of people watching as well, because it's an easy watch and it's very accessible with the YouTube setting.
We'll keep this open for Pete.
Nothing really to add. Our guys prove that they belong on every stage they go into. They're winning groups at Modus. They're getting deep into the finals at Modus. What else can I say? It's just a testament to what we've built.
Coming out of the World Championship, the Premier League was announced. That'll be getting kicked off in a couple of weeks. So let's quickly to line up. Lidler, Humphreys, MVG Cross, Bunting, Price, Doby, Aspinall. So starting with Pete, do you buy or sell that lineup? And if you sell, who would you have swapped out?
I buy. It's a lineup that's going to sell tickets. It's box office. I get that Mike the Decker's a little upset. I understand why. I absolutely do. But if you're the goal of this, it's exhibition. It's non-ranking money. The goal is to sell tickets. The lineup they put together is going to sell tickets. Did anybody really think? Nobody was clamoring for Andrew Gilding, right? So it's the same thing. If you want to get there, you got to earn your way in.
Mark, Premier League, yay or nay?
Absolutely. To everything that Pete said, the two people that had question marks from folks are Aspinall and Doby, but there's revenue, there's seats to be filled in various stadiums all up and down England, and those gentlemen will bring a home crowd. They add a feisty atmosphere. You get a match between one of those and the top three in the world, and they've got a partisan crowd behind them. Just adds extra spice.
Mr. Dixon?
So for me, it's a good mix.
Sell, get Aspinall out of there. It's the Decker all day long for the exact reason that Pete and Mark are talking about. It's an exhibition. Do you want another Englishman in this, or do you want somebody that's going to bring another viewership audience to the table.
Well, I think certainly his performance at the Worlds hurt him, and he's not highly ranked enough to force the issue. Was the ultimate decision on De Decker.
Yeah, they
but
let
Pete,
Barney
back on that
for years.
Is he the Belgian number 2?
I believe he is at the time. Yeah,
he is, and Belgium. It's not like Belgium is struggling to find viewers of darts.
Or players.
I'm salty.
Or England. England's not either.
Right, but if you're talking about bringing in viewership, then you may as well find Nitin Kumar.
Hey, by the way, we didn't talk about him, but the Asian contingent in the World Championships in the Bahrain, that there's some players coming up in that that program
Sarita.
as well.
Absolutely. One of the good, strong world affiliates that the PDC supports. And speaking of one, our homegrown tour here, the Championship Darts Circuit, run by the Championship Darts Corporation, is about to kick off in some short fashion in 2025, and things are getting bigger and stronger. There's some I's being dotted and some T's being crossed, but there's going to be 16 events over 6 weekends, $200,000, maybe a little plus on that over the course of the circuit, those 16 events, plus the 2 special events, the cross-border and the Continental Cup. That big pot being played for just barely over 100 players. That's a good circuit in my opinion. I humbly do say. Let me throw it to Gordon, being a former player. What's your take on that CDC circuit?
No, it's awesome. Year over year, the growth, not only in the prize money, which is obviously exciting, but the standard. I'm a standard whore. That's what I talk about all the time. I want to see that that being raised. That's what you can take away losses from and learn depending on the level that you play at, and that's what the CDC has brought. The idea that it's adding a little cash to that is just icing on the cake.
Mark, 2025 CDC, big stuff in store.
Fantastic. Everything that Gordon said, plus the small incentives of every single tournament that folks get invited to and can represent to, one, get additional exposure, which leads to more dominoes, which we've talked about. Plus, it helps folks actually pad their bank accounts even more with those entry fees into those tournaments as well. So it's a win-win all around, and can't wait to see what 2025 brings.
Obviously, having Pete here, he'll really bring this home. But to give us the scope of where I do plan on sitting down with Mr. Cetera in the coming weeks. We will take a deep dive. But Peter, on the surface, a nice tour there. $200,000 to be chopped up. We've got some special events, a twist each Saturday of each tournament, and the possibilities, winning Continental Cup championships and opportunities with the PDC.
Sure, Continental Cup. So let's focus on U.S. based, right? We've got the Cross Border Darts Challenge. You've got the Continental Cup. You've got plenty to play, and that's all free money. Right? Nobody pays an entry fee to the cross border. Nobody pays an entry fee to the Continental Cup. That's all free money. So at the end of the day, even if you're not somebody who, if you're 14, 12, whatever, and you don't end up going to PDC, whatever it is, there's plenty of opportunity. But look at the opportunity to play over here. We had a chance, and we will continue to get, the opportunity to eight people in the qualifying rounds of this event. We've got world championship spots, still trying to see what that looks like with the expansion of the world championship, potential for more there. You've got the US Darts Masters. You've got the North American Championship, right? You've got a Grand Slam. Every major, I shouldn't say every major, but the many majors here in the UK, there's a path for North American players to get to. And when they get there, they're acquitting themselves well, right? And now the next step is, now you got to start making deeper runs. and you've got to start finding the next generation to come up behind this generation. We'll talk a lot about that. I'm not going to hijack the podcast here and go into that, but that's something that we're going to be focusing on. We've got to find the next generation. We'll put a little bit more money in the Evolution Tour. We're working to do more JDC things. We're always working to bring more opportunities at every level of the game for the people that want to come out and carpe DMCs today.
Yeah, in our in-depth chat coming up, Peter and I will take a look at for players a real peek, behind the curtain and under the rug on our attempts. We're looking to put more prize money out there, more opportunities to earn that prize money. As Pete says, the opportunities of where to go, with those games, and just how we feel that this is turning into what we want it to be, a proper professional tour for and by the players of North America. So to keep up with other items on the CDC, landscape, we want to remind you that you should sign up for our newsletter. Okay, stay in the know with the CDC. Sign up for the CDC newsletter to be the first to get the latest news, tips on improving your own dart game, special offers, discounts, and insider info. You can go to champdarts.info/in-the-know to get signed up for the newsletter. Okay. Now, this week we wanted to find out, now we're going to have a little bit of fun here. So we wanted to find out what was on Mark's mind this week. So we caught up with Mark Taggart, and he proposed what we're going to chat about here. This weekend in Indianapolis is the WWE Royal Rumble.
What's on Mark's mind?
Jeff McMahon, our technical producer, has way too much time on his hands. I felt bad, but boy, oh boy, look at that production work. Kudos.
I don't remember signing off on anything.
Give us some of that Irish wisdom, Mark.
Oh, boy.
Where's the applause on the Zoom call? I need to click the applause button.
I love it.
So what's
work,
being well, so let's see if we can frame this and kick this off. So for those not in the know, the WWE Royal Rumble is a competition that involves two participants come out. They wrestle for a time frame, let's say 2 minutes, and then every 2 minutes thereafter, there's a bell goes off and a new competitor comes in, and they compete until there's one person left in the ring. Now, whether wrestling is your, forte or not is kind of besides the point. It's the fun of the event. It's the unknown capacity of that. So I know Mark's been in conversations. I've been in conversations with some of the online darts guys, give them their kudos. They love this idea. And we've seen Paul Nicholson knock around this idea. So let's us chat about this, and you guys can take it in any direction you want, whether it be a North American version, a worldwide version. I'll start a little bit. I love the idea because I get it and I get the flavor of it. I'm going to be a little bit of a wet towel in that I think the real dynamic part of it on a worldwide sort of stage, if it would have been done sooner and he still would have had enough, and it pains me to say that he didn't have a lot left in the tank. To me, the one of the big things was after he retired to have the snap song come on and out comes Taylor. I don't think that has the punch that it once did, right? So that to me, so I want to hear from you guys where you think the real twists on this is. Is it the unknown, or is it just the aspect of you wouldn't know the lineup? Because I guess the theory would be the darts version would be two players competing. You get a winner. That player just stands there and boom, who's going to take them on next? And you just play through 32 players, maybe. I don't know how many players. So Mark, since this was out of Mark's mind, let's go to Mark first on a possible darts Royal Rumble.
Okay, strap yourselves in. So first of all, this is very doable. They've already done it with a snooker shootout. Barry Hearn's already done this. 128 players, one frame, and they work their way down. From a perspective of doing it with darts, 128 players also, 332s, work it down, just like Anthony said, 1v1 at a time. Take the top 4, the winner of each Royal Rumble, and then you play quote-unquote real matches to get your winner. That's napkin me thinking about how viable it would be. As far as entries, I would absolutely do complete mystery. I would bring in legends. I would bring in people from other tours. I'd bring in wild cards from all over the globe and just completely mix up. So other than the first 2 people that stand on the hockey, you've got no clue who's coming next, and you work your way down and you see who the final 4 may be. I think it would be fantastic, like we were saying about cutting-edge formats, entertainment. You can imagine that one, Peter. Do you know anything about darts? Do you know anything about wrestling? Yeah, take a seat. Watch this. There's no body slams, though. At least not on the hockey. And off you go. I think it.
And
they're
actually theoretically playing for real. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't want to get into that conversation, but I think it's got legs. I think it's got potential. For what it is, it would be an entertainment spectacle. I think, bit of prize money, over a weekend. I think it's very doable.
Pete, your take on that? But okay, we got the graphic.
You had to use it again.
It's money.
No,
it's money.
100%.
Can I get royalties for this?
Check is in the mail, my friend. The check is in the mail. So Pete, lead us down the road here to this, and then we'll get Gordon, and we can open it up.
Never give me my own segment on this show because I'm loath to see what Jeff McMahon would put together for me.
Oh my God, we're going monocle. Done. Next episode.
I'll say this. It's wonderful to watch Paul Nicholson's face light up when he talks about it. I've talked to him at length about this. And he's passionate about it. It is box office. It's great. I think it could run. You've got to do it correctly. I think it could be too much. So, you're sitting there for one leg, 101,000, whatever it is. You've got 332s that can drag. But I think that it could absolutely be just amazing for the game. The uncertainty of it is the sell. It's exactly right. I mean, I'm not going to say it. Never mind. I'll let Gordon talk.
Mr. D.
Yeah. So I love the idea. I think it gives a real opportunity. Some football players or fans hate it, but you see what just flashing to Taylor Swift does. Like, could you imagine if maybe Manny Pacquiao was going to pop out and play a leg of darts with
I kind of had a feeling you were thinking exactly. You go beyond the darting realm. You go to influencers or pop culture folks.
Yes.
who would be up for getting up on that stage.
Yeah, and I think it gives a really good gateway to some of the guys. Who is it? Prince Harry that comes out every once in a while.
Well, he's been there. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, the possibilities are endless as far as who you do, and I think that kind of helps the dragging on, because you could have something gimmicky and then, oh my gosh, the lights go out and the crackle. And I'm surprised to hear you say that you don't think that there would be such fanfare around Taylor. I mean, he's still playing. He's still doing exhibitions. I know he does the interviews, and he's got like this grandpa look, and he's got tea, and he's sitting around like he's
and
not doing
trust
anything.
me, that's not easy for me to say. You know, I mean, but I think he's also physically hurt. Like I just don't think he's got it in the But yeah, to just have that go off. Yeah, I think it would be akin to those who know wrestling to the broken glass of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't discount.
Hulk Hogan could walk out into Raw. We could get Taylor out there to throw 9 darts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you know what? In all fairness, yeah, this is why we had this fun conversation. You melted the ice there for me. You know, we're not talking about best of 31. We're talking about it's the pop, as they call it in sports entertainment, and it's about getting up there and competing for that leg or whatever it might be. We got a comment. DJ Sayer comes strolling out. What was that? Darren Young, Ray Carver. Yeah, I mean, you know, well, it depends where you're holding it, but yeah, I mean, no, those are the things you can get. And to your point about capturing the audience, yeah, as soon as you pull that crazy twist, you know, you get one of them in the first half dozen about like, you know, holy Snikes who came out or whatever. Now everybody's in their seat. Now everybody's going to worry about who's going to be the next schlep that has to go out on a beer run because we might miss who the next great person to come in. Right now, you don't want to leave your seat.
So the other side of that coin too. Think about one of the Lukes coming out in 20. Now they have to go through 19 players to win their version of the Rumble. And as they clock down through, like say they beat 7, 8, 9 people, that's little segments, little pockets of drama. Then the person eventually say they run out of steam, whatever. Someone has a really good leg, they're gone. Oh no! Like that person's like it. There's so many ways to make it fun. And to Pete's point, you know, having 4 of them, I get it, but over 4 or 5 days, doing one a day, it's only 32 legs of darts. Very, very easily doable. And you don't know, I don't know if this works for tickets, Pete, you would know better than me, but if you didn't know the 32 people you were coming to see, except for the first 2, would it sell? Would it not?
Even that you wouldn't. You know, I think either the format's going to sell itself or not, right? I think the ticket to the night is going, and then those 2 players. I don't think the crowd should even know who those first 2 are. That can be done behind the scenes or at random or whatever, and then the crowd gets to see who those first 2 are as well. I think that, you know, the whole evening should be a surprise to the audience.
Yeah. Look, this is a darts fan's dream, right? It's not Alley Pally. It's not. You're not going to get the weekend, you know, guys in banana suits coming out having no idea what's going on. This is a darts fan's dream. Do it at the Circus Tavern.
Yeah.
Not a bad call.
Do it in Lakeside.
Barry Hearn is going to tell me there's not enough tickets there, but
instead of them all having walk-ons, just a spotlight pops on each person that's sitting there.
No, that would be
we
fun.
only had enough room for the players and
the
horse.
If everybody had to play cold, you had everybody sitting out in the audience as well, and just lights going off. Bing! Your light lights up. It's your turn to walk up there and go play.
With the same set of darts.
I don't know that at this particular event that we'll have anybody thrown through the Spanish announcer table, but one can only hope.
Well, when Mark said that earlier, I wanted to be cheeky and say Adrian Lewis doesn't need to be involved.
Ouch. But obviously, I mean, it's got legs. This thing won't go away. So I don't know, you know, I don't, you know, is this something that really, really could be done? Or is this just an absolute wet, you know, dart fan wet dream?
Barry Hearn's done it with the snooker shootout. He's done it. It's possible.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
In all fairness, I didn't either. So as soon as Mark threw out the snooker, I'm like, case closed. Then if Uncle Barry's done it, then Uncle Barry's done it.
It absolutely can
in
be
your
done.
calendar. January 30th, 2025.
And if it's not gonna, if it's not done soon, Paul Nicholson's either going to start a petition drive or go on a hunger strike.
Rival
So,
wrestling
I mean, let's I mean, it may not be, I don't know if we can hook, Phil Taylor and Hulk Hogan and stuff, but like, we may have to do a little North American version just to sort of, do proof of concept. And Cetera's got having another heart attack. Sure, proof of concept without a payday. That's the unofficial motto of the CDC.
Damn it, Eugenio, don't let your mouth write checks that we can't cash.
That's it. Book it, everybody. Vegas in September.
Sure. The
See
Sphere,
you there.
why not? Go big or go home.
Amen to that. Oh, what a fun night, boys. Thank you so much. Let's go round the horn again to close things up. Mr. Mark Taggart, any thoughts following up anything that we talked about today, or anything you want to close with?
Just great to see everyone here. The energy's high. It's amazing that we're already into the third event in the PDC calendar, and a huge stacked CDC calendar coming up. Love having these conversations and just happy to be a part of it. And thanks, Jeff, for that wonderful graphic. I'll wait for that check, Anthony.
Mr. Gordon Dixon, thank you for joining us. Anything, any parting shots?
Yeah, no, I love being a part of this. Love talking about darts at any level and any chance I get. I do feel a bit slighted. I don't have my own little segment or music, but we'll let that slide.
We've got 12 months to go, Gordon. We've got 12 months to go.
Kenny
Hilfiger.
What you wish for.
I love it. I'm not going to go on a big limb at all, but Luke Lidler doesn't stop. This is not. Do not think that Luke Lidler falls off this year.
Okay. Before we go to Pete, just want to remind everybody, we did tease a little bit of that CDC stuff, so stay tuned for a sit down between myself and Mr. Cetera. You can get information on www.champdarts.com and at champdarts on social media platforms. Right now, if you're interested, is the tour schedule, so you can see the dates and the cities. So, as Pete and I get coordinated, we will launch very promptly all of the inside information, venues, event weekends, all of that good stuff. So now turn to my friend Peter Cetera. Your thoughts to close us out tonight.
Gordon set me up. He was talking about didn't want to go out on a limb. How about Paul Lim winning the Asian tour
Bravo.
on his 71st birthday? That man is the Energizer Bunny. He does not stop, and he's got a smile on his face constantly. If we all could live our lives as happy as Paul Lim, our life expectancy would be, 10 years longer. So kudos to Paul. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Love to see it happen. And I'll also close with this, folks. Let's just keep the families of the American Airlines and military helicopter crash in our minds. Say a prayer, kiss your loved ones. There's a lot of good stuff in the world. There's a lot of pain in the world. So just hug your loved ones tight tonight.
Thank you very much, Peter. We echo that. I want to thank these three great gentlemen for joining me tonight. Early word is from our showrunner that the next big segment in production might be what's grinding Gordon's gears. So keep an eye out for that as 2025 opens up.
Do your best, Peter Griffin. Come on. You know what really grinds my gears? Gordon Dixon, you know what really grinds my gears?
That segment will be long and often.
Get off my lawn.
Yes. Yeah.
Dog days is when we need a nice, good episode for the dog days of summer. I want to remind everybody that my interview with John Part will be dropping on YouTube at the conclusion of this episode, so go check that out. I want to thank John for his time. The next episode of Shooting the Bull is coming to you Thursday, February 20. Really want to thank everybody out there for your support for the second season of Shooting the Bull, a nice little, project, passion project that we had in mind. So, thank you for helping us get through the first year. We look forward to bringing you a lot of fun content for 2025. And just want to sincerely, close with this as we've got a lot of, upheaval in our country right now. Just remember that, your fellow citizens love this country just like you do. So let's keep that in mind, and let's not let political differences put space between loved ones. So you take care out there, and we will see you on the next episode of Shooting the Bull.
Thanks for joining us for Shootin' the Bull, the official podcast of the Championship Darts Circuit. Subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode, and follow us at Champ Darts on social media to keep up with all of the latest news on North American darts.